Jewish community, in the Christian community, in other honored faith communities, it can also be a moment of hope. In a week's time in this country, we will be celebrating the birthday of one of America's greatest sons, a man who stood up and challenged America to live up to its highest ideals, to live up to its highest principles. Martin Luther King, in the year before his assassination, stood up in front of many people and said, as he spoke out on the war in Vietnam, oftentimes to great criticism, people who were saying, you shouldn't talk about Vietnam and U.S. atrocities in Vietnam. But Martin Luther King stood up in front of the civil rights movement and said, I did not fight segregation for 40 years and all my life to come to this moment and segregate my morality. And so he knew he was willing to take a stand. And he was willing to pay with his life for that stand. But see, brothers and sisters, that is the prophetic voice. That is the voice in all our traditions that call us to live up to our highest ideal. And that is what makes America great. That's what makes Chicago great. That we have had many women and men who have challenged us to live up to those ideals. Women and men in the Jewish community. Rabbi Marx in 1966, in August 5th, on a Friday, wrote one of the most powerful letters to the Jewish congregation across the city, as Martin Luther King was getting ready to march in Marquette Park. He wrote a letter to the congregation and said, I am going to join MLK and the marchers today, even though many of you may oppose this. Because he said, how different would I be from the Germans who stood by aimlessly and watched as the Nazis brought innocent men and women and children in Nazi Germany into the camps. He said, my Judaism, my idea of the highest ideals of Judaism challenged me to stand and march with those of people of conscience. And that is a Jewish voice that we must celebrate. That is a voice that Rabbi Herschel, Rabbi Marx, that is a voice that has led women, Jewish women in Toronto to occupy the Israeli consulate. That is the voice that has 10,000 Israelis in the square in Tel Aviv. That is a Jewish voice that has led Israeli soldiers to risk incarceration after refusing to serve in Gaza. So brothers and sisters, and now I speak to my Palestinian and Arab brothers and sisters, there is a Quranic ayah, كُونُوا قَوَامِينَ بِالْقِسْطِ وَلَوْ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِكُمْ, that brothers and sisters, we must be people of justice, people that need to stand against our own selves. We want justice, and we want people from across the world to stand with us for justice in Palestine and in Gaza. But we must be willing to stand for justice with people here and in our communities. We cannot demand for justice in Gaza and be blind or insensitive to the struggles of Africa.